Come on! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of the world, Michelangelo, Donatello, Leonardo, Raphael, hello to all of you. Today is, of course, Friday, and that means that this is Obscure Movie of the Week.
My God, it's full of stars.
Come on! Today I'm talking about Kontroll. Kontroll is a unique, terrific movie directed by an American-born Hungarian guy. That rhymed, wasn't planning on that. He is called Nimrod Antal, and even though he was born in America, he went over to Budapest, Hungary to make his first film, which is this one. And it is exceptionally good in pretty much every way that a film should be good. It's got great characters, it's got terrific cinematography, it's got a captivating storyline, but one thing that the film excels in is essentially the fundamental rule that a great story is in the telling. Because really, no matter what is happening, it is told so well that it is just mesmerizing, it is hypnotizing, it is captivating. One of my very favorite things about this film is how well controlled, not a pun, but how well controlled the movie and the direction is. The cinematography is stylistically just so on point. Sometimes in modern movies you get big flashy cinematography, cameras that spin around everything, very long takes, which is becoming quite kind of cliche, that people think, well, if it's a long take it must be artistic and interesting. And then you get kind of the Marvel movies, you get big explosions, you get all this stuff thrown into the camera to try and create something special and interesting. What Nimrod Antal does so meticulously, wonderfully well is he uses his camera in a precise fashion, and he essentially shows you everyday, normal, mundane things, but he makes them interesting. That, for me, is real cinematography, or at least an aspect of real cinematography. Somebody who can show you your own everyday world, but show it to you in a way that you have not looked at it before. Show it to you in a way that is mesmerizing, as if you are looking at another planet, even though it is something that you witness on a day-to-day basis. The film also has a remarkable tempo. M. Night Shyamalan said that one of the things he credits directors on the most is tone, and the film has a very controlled tone. The director was completely in control of the tone of this movie. It actually feels to me very much like old Japanese anime, something like Wings of Honomise, where those directors, because the art of animation was something they understood so well, it almost didn't matter what was happening in the story because you were compelled by the artistry of what you were watching. It didn't need to be explosions, it didn't need to be car chases. It was kind of like almost nothing could be happening on the screen, and you'd be mesmerized by it. Studio Ghibli, similarly, excellent at dealing with silence and mood. This film, Kontroll, feels more almost like a dystopian 80s science fiction movie in tone, almost Blade Runner-ish, and yet it is not. That's purely because of the way the director has painted this world. Essentially, the story revolves around the workers on the Hungarian Budapest underground train system, and it is kind of normal. I've actually been there, and I've been on those trains, and I've been approached by those ticket inspectors, and it's kind of making fun of that. but at the same time it has this feeling as if this is an underground world, a world that could almost be in the future where workers and employees of this dystopian future are not allowed to see the light, as if they literally live underground and they have to work for everybody else, and there's a whole other world up there above the surface that only certain people get to see. And it really does have this feeling of another world, a dark, bleak, fascinating dystopian future, almost THX 1138 style, but a better directed film actually. Anyway, I'm not going to go on about it too much. The camera's great, it's compelling, it's completely and totally controlled, which I love. It's got great and exciting chase sequences, it's got a great soundtrack. Now, one interesting fact is that after Kontroll came out, the director, Nimrod Antal, went back to America where Hollywood brought him in and they wanted him, and he ended up making films like Predators, where he had Robert Rodriguez as a producer, which I find very interesting because so far as I'm concerned, he's a much more meticulous and specific and precise director than a director like Robert Rodriguez. Robert Rodriguez is kind of off the cuff. He makes things up as he goes along. He doesn't have the patience and the subtlety of a director like Nimrod Antal. Robert Rodriguez just throws things on the screen. If you look at, say, the audio commentary on a film like Desperado, Rodriguez couldn't even remember what the ending of his own movie was, even though it was written and directed by him, which I was astonished at. How can you not know the ending of your own movie? And so essentially you've got this fantastic director who's gone back to Hollywood, and now Hollywood are telling him what to do, which is very annoying. It's a bit like when John Woo, who made incredible movies like Hard Boiled, then went to Hollywood and ended up making things like Mission Impossible 2. And it's quite hard to actually find the director in it, because he's being told what to do by executives and producers and big companies and corporations who are taking this guy who's got this wonderful understanding of the art form, and they're then telling him, now do this. So Kontroll is one of those movies where, because it was made on almost no money by comparison to anything he's done in America, the director got to go out there and do exactly what he wanted to do. He went to Budapest and he said, this is what I want, and people didn't get in his way, they listened, and he was able to make a film in exactly the way he wanted to make it. And I wish that he had the freedom to still be doing that. I almost wish he'd go back to Hungary and do more stuff like this. Anyway, this film remains terrific. It ticks the boxes. It has some of the best and most confident cinematography that I've certainly seen in the past few decades of cinema. It is standout, unusual, compelling, and essentially it's almost like a lesson in filmmaking, because it is not the story itself that makes you watch it, it is how the story is told. A great story is in the telling. This is an extremely well made, well directed movie. Kontroll. I highly recommend that you check this one out. I'm George, you're you. See you again next Friday for more obscure movies of the week. And let me know in the comments below, A, if you've seen this film, what you thought of it, and B, if there are any obscure movies that you can think of that you think that I should review. Till next time, peace.